if you really have to get hired, I'll share with you what you have to do before interview, then what you have to do during the interview, like when they're interviewing you, and what you have to do after interview. All right, let's go. Welcome to today's webinar. I think everybody who registered for this session is an aspiring person who want to grow in your careers. Maybe you either have a job, you want to look for a better job, or you're a student hoping to get a new job in the future, or you're an entrepreneur running some businesses and have to deal with some people. And always interview will come along the way at some point. Whether you apply for a job, the last stage you go through is an interview. Whether someone just recommends you and you have to meet your potential boss, employer, or investor, interview is a step you go through. Besides job interviews, also are scholarships. If you're trying to maybe further your studies, you send your applications, and always the interview is the last step you go through. So that's why it is really a must-have skill. And you realize most of schools don't teach us how to deal with interviews. So we just come and struggle out there alone. For me, I'm gonna be really talking to you as a person who have went through some interviews for programs and jobs I applied for. But again, I also talk to you as someone who conduct interviews. Yeah, maybe some of you might be new. Eric Niyitanga. I'm a global health professional. Like, that's my job usually. I do global health research and management, but I have a background in medicine. I trained as a doctor, but my heart went through more into global health. So I do much of research and management of health programs. But with that, I found my passion in communication. I help leaders and professionals develop communication skills and achieve their communication goals. So part of what I do is helping people who are going for interviews on how to do that. So part of things I'm going to be sharing with you, it's part of things I was trained to do when I was studying health management, Masters of Global Health Equity at the University of Global Health Equity, Masters of Global Health Delivery at the University of Global Health Equity. So I was trained to do interviews. As a health manager, how do you find the right people? So companies are always looking out for the right people. Organizations look for the right people. So always the last step is interview. So having great interview skills is a must-have. So, but before I tell you things you're gonna cover, just I want to just give you a little bit of what companies do to hire staff, to hire employees. So one, this is the full life cycle of the recruitment process. One, they prepare, planning, how many people do we need for which positions. Then if they say like we need a project manager, organization has to do what we call sourcing. Sourcing is by sending out an advert. When you go to different websites, they'll tell you, this company is looking for a software engineer, this company is looking for a sales manager. So companies go through that as well. Then after sourcing, they do screening. You send your CVs. Then after sending your CV, they have to screen them to find the one who are fitting better for the position. Or if it's a program you're applying for, they screen your CVs and application letters, motivation letters, and they see who is fitting better. Then the next step is selecting. This is where interview comes in. After all people who have applied, they select a few who are invited for interview. Then after interview, they score them all together, then they hire the ones who are fitting better, and then they onboard them where they get orientation and all that. So you see, interview, basically it's the last step you go through as an applicant for any program or job. Then it's important that you really master that. You might have, like, having gone to the interview stage, it's because you are good enough. You're a potential candidate for the organization. But if you can't really convince them in interview, you struggle. And I want to make this point again. when someone applies and you can see their CV is great, their written application, cover letter are great, it's hard to tell, but through interview, that's where you get to know the person who is in front of you. That's why you might be a great candidate, having great credentials, having great CV and application letters, but if you can't really present yourself well during interview, you don't make it. So that's why today I'm gonna use practical examples to take you through the journey you go through during interview. So it's something that looks like this. Before they hire you, so we assume that you have passed other screening stages. Excuse me. Yeah, you have passed other screening stages. Now it's time to look into the journey go through interview one. We will see what you have to do before interview. If you really have to get hired, I'll show you what you have to do before interview, then what you have to do during the interview, like when they're interviewing you, and what you have to do after interview. Well, we use things that we learned to use where hiring, things that I use where I hired. Like once I worked with the Japan Rwanda Youth Organization, I was hiring some people. When I was working in Junior South Africa, I had people who wanted to volunteer with us. I had to hire some people back then. But again, also myself, I went through interviews. So I know the interview side and the interviewee side. But today I will focus on you as an interviewee if you're having an interview. So what you have to do before interview, how you should behave during interview, and what you have to do after the interview. These are things that we're going to go through in the next 30 minutes. And I hope after this you have getting some ideas which will make your interview quite smooth, because many people have anxiety when they know they have interview. It's so many times I receive people calling, hey, can you help me prepare for this interview? Because they don't have a formula. But interview is not something you just do randomly. There is a formula to everything. And today, I want to give you that formula that you can use. The formula that I give to all the clients that who come to me when they want to prepare for some interviews, either job or scholarships. They're all kind of like, hey, how can I answer this question? How can I answer this? But there is one just from that I use all the time, and majority of the people I have coached so far, they get better results. So let's start with what you have to do before interview. Now, let's say you have an interview next week and you're nervous, you're wondering what you have to do. So before the interview, you have to do this thing. This is the bottom line. For you to be the best interviewee, really to pass, you need to prepare your mind to think like an interviewer. I want you to remember this statement because we'll be using it throughout this session. The best interviewee, they're the ones actually who can think, who can go in the mind of the interviewer and be able to think like them. So, one, you have to do this thing. You need to understand before the interview, you need to do research about these three things. The organization you're applying to, be a company, be a non-profit, be government, be a school, be a university. The first thing you have to research the organization. Then you have to also research the job, like the program you're applying for. And lastly, you have to research to learn more about yourself. These three things. I'm going to take you through one by one what you have to do at every stage. Many people tend to prepare their experience. How do we talk about their CV? How do we talk about their experiences, skills, and all that? But if you really want to do well during an interview, you need to just move out of yourself and think, go in the mind of someone who's going to interview you, who's going to ask you questions. What are they looking for? What are they thinking? What do they want to see in you? That's why researching the organization, researching the program, and researching who you are, which is aligned to the program or job, is very, very important. So about the organization, you have to do these things. It is really, really a terrible mistake if you go and interview and you don't know the organization history. where did the organization come from, or if it's a university, what does it stand for, what do they believe in, what's their vision, what are their values, or what's the organization culture, or what are their major projects they are carrying on in that time, what are their major maybe previous achievements. These are the things you need to do research about the organization, that when you prepare your responses to the interview questions, when you interact with them, as we'll see in the second part during the interview, you need to have this background knowledge about the organization, their culture. So you can get information from their website, you can talk to some of their staff, you can run go on social media. So all these sources you can get information, their reports, all these sources can give you information that you understand the organization. So the first thing you have to do when you have an interview is to really do your homework, research the organization, understand them better, what they stand for, what they believe in. I remember when I was going to the University of Global Health Equity, I wanted to do a master's degree there in Global Health Delivery and Health Management. And part of the work, we had to do interview. So I think I read everything on their website. Where did this university come from? Who are the funders? What are they trying to achieve? What's their goal? What's their vision? What are they to achieve the next 20 years? So that even when I was talking to them, I could speak their language. So you need to learn about the organization so that when you speak to them, actually you speak their language. This is step number 1. Then step number 2, now you do research on the program or job you're applying for. Well, this is quite easy, because when they send a job adverts or program advert, they describe everything they want. You want someone who can work with a team, someone who has communication skills, who can work maybe under pressure, someone with a master's degree, someone with a bachelor's degree, someone with a 3-4 years experience. All those things are described in a job interview. So it's important that before you even think of going to interview, you have to reread the job description, the advert, so you can understand the responsibilities that you're going to have in that role. Look at the skills needed, look at the experience needed, and who's going to be your supervisor. Because now, I do that all the time. When I see someone is going to be my supervisor, I can search who is that supervisor. I search their social media and I see what they care about, what kind of person they are. This helps you to prepare your answers to talk to them. And because in an interview, you don't say everything you know, and you don't say everything you have done. It's important to align your story, your answers to the job you're applying for, to the program you're applying for. So that's why really having a deeper understanding of the requirements for that job is a step you should really take very seriously. So after understanding the organization you're applying to, you're going to join, do research on the job or the program, really do your homework, understand it well. Then you have to do research on yourself. Really, many people they go to interview without understanding what they are looking for. The first thing you have to do is to really understand yourself, your skills, your motivations, what drives you, your experiences, what you bring on the table, and find what is aligned with the job you're applying for. Because you don't have an year to talk about everything you know or you have done. But you need to really look back which trainings you've had, which experiences you have had in the past. Because as we are going to see in the next step, we're going to see how you can use all this information to answer interview questions. So here's a simple analysis I want to share with you that I learned, that I use when I'm trying to understand myself in alignment to the job. It's called SWOT analysis. Something like it's an adjusted SWOT analysis. In a SWOT analysis, you want to look at your strength. Your strength means your skills, your experiences, things that you can contribute to the role. Now, also you know your weaknesses and how you can actually rebut from your weaknesses. As we'll see, one of the questions that comes is, what is your weakness? Are we in the next step? I will show you how to answer those questions. Your strength, your weaknesses. Then look, experiences. Which experience do you have that make you suitable for the role. Something you need to understand. Then your expectations as well. What do you expect in a role, in the job? Because one of the things they will ask you is about the salary. How much do you think we can pay you? So what do you expect? You need to align your expectations with the role we are going for. Then importantly, also the threat. The threat is about you see things that can really hinder you. Like, be honest with yourself, see the loopholes you have in your story, and find ways you will make maybe those weak points strong, with those cracks, how you can fix it. So these are just the simple things you can do when you're preparing for interview. This is a formula I use. All my clients I train, they use this, and it gives you a framework when you're preparing. Like when you know that you have interview for company Z or company A, B, C, or university. Simply next time you have that, start from reading about the organization and understand them. You don't need to be specific about what you need to, just the general idea, understand them. 2, look at the program or the job you're applying for. Excuse me. And then think about yourself, your unique proposition. And the reason we're doing this, those things should be aligned. You really should now craft your story in a way that aligns with what employer or program is looking for. I know you have achieved so many things in your life, you have had many experiences, but by understanding the interviewer, the organization, and understanding yourself, now you can easily align so well with the people you're going to meet. Or they want someone who have had research experience, for example. One of the recent roles at our university I'm looking for is a research program. We have to coordinate research activities with the University of Global Therapeutic where I study and the Harvard University. So they want someone who have leadership and research. Then when I applied, I also started preparing for my interview. Like if they ask me this, what can I say? So throughout this session, I'll be showing you like some of the model answers for the potential questions. Because by doing this, doing research and organization on the program of the job and yourself, now you can prepare some possible questions. Because really, the interview is not magic. When we are setting interview guide, we have things we want to look for in a candidate. We want to see someone, maybe it's a role that requires someone to lead a team or to resolve conflicts. So then it's clear in the job description what they're looking for. And by reading that and understanding that, you can find in your own personal story something you will say about that thing. So these things help you prepare for the possible questions. This is what you do before interview. In your preparation work, it's more of a research work and alignment. Then let's go to the next step. During interview, so many people really, this is where they really struggle. Like they say, how do I prepare? Most of them come to me, they give me questions. They're like, help me, how do I answer if they ask me this? How do I answer if they ask me this? Well, I help them, but I'm gonna give you just a simple formula. Usually during interview, the questions, they come in 3 types. There are 3 types of questions that come during interview. One is the introductory questions. I'm going to give you examples. Second, the competence-based questions. The questions that are really trying to discover, does this candidate have the skills and the attitude and experiences we need? And lastly is conclusion question. So introductory questions, well, they're great, but usually there are things they can see on the CV. Tell us about yourself. Let's look at one question one by one, and I'll be giving you some examples of kind of questions and how you can approach them. Number 1 is introductory questions. Right, yeah. How to make some setting here. Yeah, I want to change the view. So, yeah, let's go with the introductory questions. So these are the questions, they might seem as a warm-up, but most of the times things they ask you they're in your CV, in your CV you sent, the resume. So that's why I want you to think about it. The reason they ask this question is not for you to just list the stuff. Rather, they're assessing how you create rapport, your communication skill. Are you able to express yourself? But again, with this question, you can be more strategic and answer them well. Like these are the most common, that they can come in many forms. Like questions like, tell me about yourself. Really, this question, well, they have your CV, but what do you really want to know? So you want to be brief and professional. Really, they're not asking about your names and where you grew. Rather, they wanted to talk about who you are now and things you did in the past that are aligned with the job you're applying for and what you aspire for in the future. This is the formula. I'm going to show you how to use it. I have some examples on the next slides on each of these questions. But yeah, for the tell me about yourself, you talk about your professional profile in just no more than 45 seconds. Actually, a good interview question answer shouldn't be beyond 45, maximum 1 minute. You want to be precise, concise, and straight to the point. But there's a formula for this kind of question. Tell me about yourself. I'm going to give you some examples. How you talk about yourself in the present, then talk about yourself in the past, and talk about in your future. This is a simple formula you can use when they ask you, tell me about yourself. Another kind of common question is, tell me about your education background. Really here, they're not looking for your degrees. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. There are more. So you need to really talk about that. But again, emphasize the skills you gained during those trainings, the courses you've had, and relevancy, how those skills are relevant to the role you're applying for or the program you're going for. Also, I have an example for these ones, how you can answer, tell me about your education background. Another common question is, what interests you most about this position? So they want to see your enthusiasm, how you're excited about the organization. Also, always remember to show how your skills and value are relevant to the role. Also, another challenging question is, tell me about your strengths and your weaknesses. Also, well, you choose a couple of strengths that you can talk about, but irrelevant to the role. You don't pick any random strength you have. You can't say that I'm a good runner. I can jog. I can run 10 kilometers in an hour. Where the job you're applying for may be it's a sales manager. So these are the kind of things. You can think about and give the strength that aligned with the role. About weaknesses, you have to talk about something real, a weakness which is but not critical. You can't say like something like I don't keep time. You don't keep time? Seriously? Yeah. So let's have some examples about these questions, how you can answer them. Like I did this, I did model answers, looking at the position that I'm applying for as a manager of that research program between Harvard and UGHE. So I'll go to the interview because I have to prepare if they invite me. And they asked me, tell us about yourself. Tell me about yourself. Remember what we said. For this kind of question, I have a simple answer. You have to talk about yourself in the present. Who are you? Talk about yourself in the past. Where you talk about your achievements, things you have done, experiences you've had which are relevant to the program or the job. And then talk about the future, like your aspirations. Like this will be my typical answer. Tell me about yourself. Hey, I'm a medical doctor with a strong interest in healthcare leadership, research, and communication. This is who I am now. Over the past 3 years, this is my past, I've worked on both clinical care and health research projects where I developed expertise in patient-centered care and research. Here I can also move further, can say like, I led different award-winning researches. I kind of like pump this with actually more achievement of things that I did. Maybe I've seen thousands of patients, or I published 10 researches in high impact journals. So talk about things you have achieved and are relevant to the program. And recently, I completed a master's program in global health delivery, which helped me strengthen my skills in health systems and research. So looking ahead, I'm excited about this opportunity because it allows me to combine my medical background with my passion for leadership to contribute meaningfully to your team. You see, this is just a simple formula you can copy. Next time you have to answer, tell me about yourself kind of stuff. Past, present, who are you now? I'm a software engineer with expertise in Java and this language and that language. Over the last 5 years, I've worked with this company, this and Z, and I've developed a website for like this. Yeah, I aspire to be for this opportunity because like with my career goals to be maybe a leader in software industry, something like that. Past, present, talk about the past, the future. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your educational background. You see, I don't list just I have a bachelor's degree in medicine and surgery, during which I developed strong foundation in patient care and clinical decision making. But I say alongside my medical studies, I pursued leadership and communication training, which has been valuable in my teaching and coaching roles. You see, here I talk about what I studied, the degree, the credential, the qualification I have, but also I emphasize the skills that I gained. And then I said, currently, I'm pursuing a master's in global health delivery at the University of Global Health Equity, where my research focuses on strengthening health systems in sub-Saharan Africa. So then you say, this blend of medical and global health education equips me well for the role that demands for both technical expertise and leadership. So when they ask you, tell me about your educational background, don't list where you went. I went to this university, the bachelor's degree, then I went to this, I did a master's, then I had this. Well, you can do that, but make sure you emphasize the skills you gained in those programs and how they're relevant to the program you're applying for. What interests you about this role? It's like sample example. What excites me most about this position is the opportunity to contribute to advancing healthcare delivery through evidence-based strategies. Like I'm particularly drawn to organizational commitment to health equity through education, research, and community engagement, which aligns with my personal mission of improving health system and patient care. So this role also allows me to apply my background in medicine, research, and communication while learning from a team that's shaping impact solutions. You see, I talk about the role itself, why I'm enthusiastic about it. But again, I also infuse something about the organization, how like I'm interested in the organization itself. By the way, if you have questions, you can put in the chat. We'll read them after the session, and also we'll give an opportunity for you to ask questions after this. I forgot to mention that. So this is how you can answer about this. The last one is about strength. What's your strength or your weakness? So your strength is so that you have to pick like 2 strengths that align with the position. Like example here, my greatest strength is the communication. Whether it is in teaching, coaching, or engaging stakeholders, I am able to break down complex ideas in a way that inspires understanding and action. Or I also bring strong problem-solving skills, which I've applied in research and consulting projects to improve healthcare processes. These are the things I can say that I have done in the past as strength. You see, I don't just say I have communication strength. I'd rather say that I have communication that this is what it means and aligned with this project or job. About weakness, we say that you have to find something real that's something non-critical. You don't want to belittle yourself in an interview. It's like, I don't keep time. Like I've been trying to keep time, but I can't. Or I really am a very disorganized person. You have to find the weakness, which is real, maybe a weakness, but not so critical. And remember to emphasize that you're working on it to improve. Something like, one area I've been working on is delegating tasks. In the past, I tended to take on too much myself to ensure quality, but I realized this limits efficiency. So recently, I've been actively improving by trusting my team more, setting clear expectations, and providing guidance while giving space for ownership. So this shift has improved both teamwork and outcomes. You see, I talk about my weakness in trying to do things on myself alone, which is a weakness because you need to really learn how to cooperate with a team and trust others to do the work. But I don't just say that I struggle with that. I emphasize that I'm working on it. So this is how you answer question about strength and weakness. So basically, this is what you have to do during the interview when you ask these kind of introductory questions. So basically, you don't want to list the stuff when you're answering introductory questions. You don't list, I am this and this, I am this and this, I am this and this. And they're not asking about your age and whether you're married and whether you have both parents. Rather, they're trying to see the things that who you are and what you've done, which is aligned with the job organization you are interviewing you. So if I can say one thing about this introductory question, train yourself to tell your story in a way that's comprehensive, that's rich and aligned. Then here's another kind of question. The second type of question is that come during an interview. There are questions around competencies, competence-based questions. So basically every job has competencies, basically the skills you need to have. And when we're hiring, the organization is hiring, they're trying to find people who have those skills, those competencies. And how do we know that? We set questions, as competencies are shown in the description of the job, then we ask questions which help us to see if that person has those competencies. So these tend to be more of a scenario-based kind of questions. Like, let's say an example, a project manager, they're looking for a project manager. And one of the competencies a project manager must have is ability to engage stakeholders. Because a project has so many people involved in it. Employees, the bosses, the sponsors, the government, the funders, the local community, beneficiaries. So one of the key skills a project manager should have is the ability to engage stakeholders. So it's important then during interview, they're gonna ask you a question that tests whether you have that skill of engaging stakeholders. And this is gonna be scenario-based kind of question. Like an example I asked, they will tell me about a time you managed a project with multiple stakeholders. It always comes in this kind of question. Tell me about you worked under pressure. Tell me about a time you worked on a team and there was a conflict. Here's the catch. Usually these questions, people narrate a story like, I managed this project, this project. But here's the thing. It's a technique that works when you're answering these kind of questions. It's the formula we use called SBI. SBI formula is a formula where you talk about the situation, where you did the thing they're asking. You have to make sure you clarify your behavior, what you did, your action, and also talk about the impact or outcome of your action. Well, some interviews, they will ask you, tell me about the time you managed a project with multiple stakeholders. How did you handle it? And what was the result? Some will be clear, they will tell you that. But some will not. Tell me about your work under pressure. Really, you don't just mention the time. Like when I was working here, I had a boss who would give me multiple tasks and I had really to make sure I deliver every day. That kind of answers are not complete. A good answer, response in the interview should give at least a situation, like give a context, behavior you had, like how did you behave, like what you did, and the impact of your behavior. So, let me give an example for this kind of question, particularly. If they ask me this question, hey, tell me about where you manage project with multiple stakeholders. If I'm in an interview they're asking me I'm trying to be a coordinator for this project, and they ask you tell me about the time. Okay, it's a lengthy slide, but I try to put everything together. So this is me speaking. Oh, Eric, tell them the time when you manage a project with multiple stakeholders. So last year, I was responsible for organizing the Japan and Rwanda Youth Cooperation Conference. I was the team leader by then. This was an event that aimed to strengthen partnership between young leaders, universities, companies, and diplomatic missions from both countries, Rwanda and Japan. This was a context. This is a situation. You see there are many stakeholders involved. Universities, companies, people with funders, students you worked with, embassies. Yeah. Then to ensure success, I first mapped out all stakeholders' interests and expectations. Then I created a clear project plan with timelines and deliverables. Then I facilitated regular meetings, maintained transparent communication, and assigned responsibilities to ensure alignment. I also worked on fundraising strategies and partnership engagement to secure financial support. This paragraph shows a number of things you do when you engage with stakeholders. One of the skills you have to do in stakeholder engagement is a mapping of stakeholder interest, and we call it stakeholder map. What are their interests? What are their expectations? And one more thing is what we call power. Who has the power to sabotage your plan? Then you create a transparent communication approach. How do you communicate? How many times do you meet? So these are the things which are involved in stakeholder engagement. Then I don't stop here. This is what I did. Then as a result, we successfully raised over 25,000 USD from different companies which we were raising funds. Then we brought together over 100,000 participants. These are impact outcomes. And we delivered a high-level conference that strengthened collaboration between Rwanda and Japan. The event was widely appreciated for its organization and impact, and it reinforced my skills in project management and my stakeholder coordination. So you can talk about it in your own ways, but whatever kind of question they ask you, it helps when you can talk about it in SBY approach. Whether they ask you to give what you did and the impact, but this shows that because every question they ask you, they're trying to dig something to see if you have that something. So talk about the situation you have been into, say what you did, show that you have actually the skills and impact. Here's the thing, it shouldn't necessarily always be that things were successful. You might talk about, we had this challenge, we had this project, and I did this, and maybe it didn't succeed. But you kind of just use that failure to say what it taught you and how later on you started using the lessons you learned to do better. So all those things you can use talking about competence-based questions, SBI model, don't forget. If you forget anything here, is that you can use SBI formula to tell a story and showcase your experience and skills. Say what happened. So I remember last year, like when I was doing this UGH interview to go to this master program, I wanted so bad. They gave me a scenario actually. They said, you're working with an organization, you're partnered with them, but they want to use the money for operations instead of executing the project to beneficiaries. So they asked me, what would you do? You see, such a question might sound hypothetical. Ask me, what would you do if they did this and this and that? Well, it's possible that you can give hypothetical answer. Say, I would do this, I would do this, I would do this. Some people do that. But you can use SBI actually to show that when they asked me that, I was like, oh, actually that situation looks like the one we had when I was working with the Rotary. We had a project to do a dental screening for children in the village, and we raised some fund and resources. But our members wanted to use the money for transport. Let's use all the money for transport, we can take more members. But they're like, hey, the money we have to buy the toothpaste and the toothbrushes for children and teaching them. So then what I did, we had to discuss with them. I tried to communicate with the team. Luckily, they understood what we're doing and they collaborated. So something like that, I was able to take the hypothetical scenario they gave me and I used SBI model to show that actually I have a similar experience. There's something they're looking for and it enriches your responses. So the last kind of questions is conclusive question. Actually, they call them, like, it's usually this question they ask you, do you have any question for us? Well, some people, they go on, it's like, no, I don't have any question. But by saying you don't have any question, you are missing out on an opportunity to show your interest, show your passion, show enthusiasm, and show you understand the organization. So it's important, like, before you go to any interview, to prepare at least two questions that you can answer. You can ask the panel once they ask. So I have just some examples here. I crafted one. Like, I would love to know what success in this role looks like within the first 6 to 12 months. By asking this question, you show that you are someone who's result-oriented, someone who want to meet expectations. So they'll tell, hey, when you become a sales manager or project manager here, you do this and this and that. We expect that. Yeah. So basically, here they see that you're someone, it reflects who you are. You're result-oriented and you want to meet expectations. Something like, can you tell me more about the team I would be working with and how this role contributes to the larger goals of the department? You see, by this, you show your interest. Like, you want to know about the team you're going to be working with and the role of the contribution of your role in the general department you're going to be working with. So these kind of questions show that you're thoughtful, enthusiastic, you care about you're someone who want to collaborate with the team. Like, what opportunities for professional growth or learning are available for someone in this position? In fact, you can copy these questions, at least if you don't have any ideas. These are the kind of questions you can ask. And yeah, or how does this organization define success, and what upcoming priorities or projects are you most excited about? So basically, these kind of closing questions, they're questions that shows you're interested and your enthusiasm and that you are thoughtful. I remember when they asked me to ask a question when I was applying for this program. That was your first program. Hey, do you have any question for us? I went on to ask, like, hey, your program has been here for almost 9 years now. Like, how do you measure the impact of your training, the people you train? They went on to tell me, like, for 4 minutes, explain to me the graduates, where they're working now, how they measure their impact. This showed that I had interest in the program. Also, they asked the second question, which was around sustainability. Like, your program is training people to operate in non-profit organizations. But how do you think about sustainability of the work in non-profit? Why don't you focus on a business and maybe train people how to manage business organizations in a sustainable way financially? They want to tell me how they measure sustainability in their organization, how actually they apply business principles in non-profit organization management. So these are kind of questions that you ask and show your interest. So these are just 3 kind of questions you're more likely to meet in an interview. Introductory questions, basically a little bit of a warm-up to see your communication skills and to understand how you can articulate things. But again, don't miss the opportunity to also use those questions to show that you are the best candidate. Then the competence-based questions, which come with every question having a target skill they are trying to dig to see if you have it. Then you can use that SBI to showcase that you have those competencies. Then a conclusive question like this: do you have a question for us? Yeah. Then the last thing is what you do after the interview. Some people do this, some people don't. But after the interview, you can send a thank you note to the interviewer organization. Hey, say thank you for the opportunity to interview me. Then reaffirm your interest in the program. Then also highlight one takeaway, things you have learned from the conversation you had with them. This is a polite way to close the interview. Just after the interview, like, you can do this in just 24 hours. Don't do it the day after. That very same day, you can send just a thank you note for interviewing you, whether they hire you or not, but send a thank you note. Yeah, these are just the basic things you can do when preparing for an interview. If you have an interview next time, think about what you can do before the interview, the kind of research you have to do, so you can align yourself, your story, your skills with organization goals, the mission, and the role. Because those information help you during interview, because you now know the competence they're looking for. You can craft your answers to showcase your experience, your skills fit in. And after the interview, you can set a thank you note. Then, how you did, you get hired. So, but before we close, I have just a challenge for you. This is the interview process. Before the interview, during and after. But I think one of the hardest parts is how do you get to the interview? Because getting interview, why you can manage, as we have learned. But really, one of the puzzle in job market is how do you get there? So many people get there, usually the standard way, you send a CV, you send an application, and you send your CV, and you wait for them to call you for an interview. Some people do network, like you have someone who knows you, they recommend you, and so through recommendation is, hey, come and be interviewed here. I have had some kind of jobs like that, especially in consulting work, where I worked with different organizations to develop health content courses that I didn't apply, but someone recommended me and they called me, hey, come and we talk. Then I went there, they told me what they want and how to explain what I can do and all of that. So sometimes you get interviewed by networking recommendation. But there's another interesting way you can do that. If you don't have a strong network who can recommend you, and maybe CV, you send CVs, no one is calling you for interviews. Like you have sent CVs in 20 organizations, no call. There is another way that many people don't know about, which is around branding yourself. So branding yourself is about building yourself as an authority. Showcase your skills in a public, usually using social media, and create opportunities for yourself. This is something I've been really thinking about, creating some content about that. If you don't have strong network of people who can, or your family who can just hire you, and you've been sending CV, nothing, you can just try another way of branding yourself. Like, make people know you, basically. Make people know that you can do this. And this is something I've been doing, like in my communication work. I've been doing YouTube videos. I've been writing content online. I've been sending newsletter every week. All these things, I position myself as an authority in communication, that if someone needs someone who can communicate, they can come to them. So this is something, what kind of work I've been doing. And I've received a comment that many people really don't know how to do that. Hey, how do you really position yourself for opportunity? And I'm starting just a simple 5 weeks coaching program, a masterclass for people who are interested. So if you want to create opportunities for yourself, I want to be sharing how actually you can use social media to unlock the career opportunities by building your personal brand. Like if people go on internet, they write your name, what they find. Those things matter so much in a professional world, because sometimes you can get opportunities by just posting stuff. If you're in health, if you are in business, if you are in software, if you're in agriculture, for you to make people hire you in the future or call you for interviews, they need to know you. And if you don't have a friend or a connection which make them know you, maybe you apply, send a CV to make them know you. That is, so you can build a strong brand that through online, people will just come to you. Employers will come to you. This is something you can do using some strategies. So it's going to be a 5 weeks program. I'll be teaching you how do you package your skills. Actually, like be clear about things you can offer, the skills you can offer. I'll be taking you through some exercises on how to know your value, things you can give. Then how to use social media to build your personal brand and create opportunities. Also how to package your skills. If it's a CV, writing CV and all that. Also, I'll teach you techniques on positioning yourself. Part of that is creating content, building an audience, trying to find a way you can feature in the local newsletter. Like sometimes I write articles in the New Times, and for free I write an opinion and I send it. Those are all things you can do in a way of positioning yourself for opportunities. So this program, we just start in the second week of September. So this is going to be a 5 weeks program, and I'm recruiting just 15 people who want to take this masterclass. We'll be having sessions every week, giving you resources you need, also give you personalized guide on how you can build. So if this sounds something you're interested in, you want to join this masterclass on personal branding and positioning, how to brand and position yourself, I will send you the link after this session. I will share the link actually in the chat after the presentation. Then be the first to register for the program at 39,100 francs, close almost 40. 5 weeks, you get resources, you get personal guide if you want to build your LinkedIn, if you're trying to know what kind of content to put on LinkedIn, you can craft your LinkedIn in a way your profile attracts opportunities for you. I'll be helping you through that. So this is a masterclass. I want to take just 15 people who are interested. I'll send you the link after this. Otherwise, this was it for today. I hope you get some ideas, 1 or 2, that you can use in your future career as you prepare for the next interviews. At this point, I will open the floor to chats to see the questions. Right, I will stop sharing the screen. All right. I think I have some questions in the chat. Let me look in the chat and then. Okay, can we get this presentation? The recording? Yes, we are recording this session. I want to be sure I'm recording. Yes. Yeah, it's a recording. I will share the recording hopefully tomorrow. I will need to upload it to my platform, maybe on YouTube. Then you can use it. Also, I'm free to share the slide, but also after I will share the free guide. I condense all this information in the small guide that you can use. So I'll be sharing this tomorrow. Okay, Onole asked, can you tell me the basic and professional way of knowing what interviewer needs by asking questions, or just share the small hint to convince the panel? Thank you. I think I've been discussing this, but I can just iterate. Interviewers, what they are looking for, you only know it by looking at the job description. Really, before you go to the interview, go back to the job description you applied for, the program. Try to see. They highlight the kind of competencies they want. They kind of like, they want someone who can do this, someone who has this proficiency, someone who knows Excel, someone who works under pressure, someone who can multitask. They're clear about the kind of competencies. And they won't come straight and tell you, do you have this? Usually it comes in a form of they ask you a scenario or a question. It's up to you now to really reflect on the role you're applying for and try to think, what are they looking for? You might not get it 100% correct, like perfect, but you can at least get it close. And remember always to use SBI to show that you have the skill. So usually every question is trying to see a certain skill. Like, tell me the time you worked on a team and there was conflict, and yeah. So like this one, they are trying to see your conflict resolution skills. So now you need to really go detailed how you approach conflict resolution. How do you bring consensus or communication or tech? So yeah, these are just the things. So about how convince the panel. Well, of course, that's the goal you have. It's just to show that you're the best candidate they can have. 1, you need to be prepared, honestly. Some questions you need to prepare, like, tell me about yourself. These are the kind of questions you need to be prepared. Have them even written down in the way you want to practice them. Because after all, you might be great, but if you can't really speak confidently, they will see, because they are also looking at your non-verbals. If you your conviction in what you're saying and confidence. Hello, is it easy to succeed in an interview when you fear public speech? Well, I can't say it is easy, because interview, it's more of a public speaking still. Yeah, it's more of public speaking still, because you have like a panel you're talking to, and you need to have at least some confidence and competence on how to communicate in public. And one of the major things in speaking public is how to organize your ideas. You don't want to hit here and there. Like some formula show like past, present, past, future. You can organize your thoughts like that. SBI also is another way to organize your thoughts. And I challenge you to take the approach, take courses on how to be a better speaker. Yeah, it's not easy, I should say, but it's something you can learn and grow and do better. Yeah, I hope this helps. Well, I usually do a public speaking coaching program. Yeah, if you're interested to learn how I can help you develop public speaking skills, you can reach out to me inbox. But this one was around the interview. So Flora, I see your hands raised. You kind of open your mic and ask a question.
Okay, hello everyone. So I just wanted to first say thank you for the amazing opportunity, for the amazing presentation. So I do have one question. A lot of the presentation was centered around the common things or how to prepare for the interview. It was all about the knowns. But sometimes in the interviews, they ask you like they ask you unpredictable questions. Like I'll give myself as an example. For my current job, when I was interviewing, it was all about project management and marketing and sales. And right after I've answered every question, the interview was at the end, and they hit me with one question. What animal do you think describes you? Or if you were an animal, what would you be? So my question is not how to answer that question, but it's how to deal with the unexpected questions during the interview and not losing it. Because for a minute I was like, what? And I was having a hard time to connect the dots. So how do you deal with the unexpected questions in the interviews? Because sometimes they could be such weird questions. So how? If you could share some tips, that would be helpful.
I'm curious to know how you answered that.
Yeah, since it was a marketing thing, I just said I would be a cheater, but it was all about, I was just trying to connect dots, just saying that I'm quick and speed and everything. But honestly, to this day, I cannot answer that question. So, but I think it's better when you know how to deal with the unexpected questions. That's why. Do you have any tips?
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think, one of the things that like people have worked with, like especially when I'm doing like the public speaking coaching thing, one of the challenges how to answer to impromptu questions, like how to make impromptu speech. Like say you speak at an event, then people asking you questions, and usually they come unexpected. Maybe you have some questions in your mind that it might come, but people can ask you something real unexpected, and yeah, you need to think on your feet. Same thing in an interview, like something a question like that. It tells, hey, you if you were to be an animal, which one would you be, and why? Well, I want to just give you like 3 steps you have to follow to answer such kind of question, unexpected questions. And actually in interviews, many unexpected questions will come. 1, you need to buy time. That's the step number 1. Because if the question is unexpected, you need at least to give yourself, unless you have the answers right away, but usually you need to buy time to give yourself some, maybe 10 seconds to think about it. And you don't think about it saying, let me think. No one says that. Like no one goes like, oh, let me think about it. Rather, The technique is to repeat the question, like in a like paraphrase to be sure I understand. Yeah, like you're asking me like you're asking me like if I were an animal, how like what would I really choose to be? So by paraphrasing the question, you buy time. Then when responding to such impromptu questions, also I usually teach a tip around using the past, present, and future. So some people do like something like, so when I was a kid, or when I was a child, a few years ago, I grew up in a village, and people would tell stories about rabbits, how they're fast. I was fond of rabbits, but growing up, I realized actually all the stories they said to me, it was a lie, and I didn't like them more. And for now, really, I watched this movie of maybe Mufasa or Lion King, and I saw the attitude of a lion. So then a lion is really something I'm interested in. So you have to be one, probably I would really love to be a lion. Because its attitude, its confidence, it's, because at the end of the day, they're not interested more into the animal you become. One, they're trying to see your communications is how can you think, like can you articulate your thoughts better. But again, sometimes it can be a reflection of the kind of person you are. That for that one, at least you need to buy time. And again, if you don't have like the exact answer now, try to talk about it in past, present, future approach. This helps you at least to get something to say about the unexpected kind of questions. That's how I approach them. Yeah. Basically the same thing that I did when you asked me this. I didn't expect this to come, but I started telling you the people that I coach, how they have the same challenge. Then I was thinking of how I help them, and I came up with something. So you see, by taking that process, like you're forming your thoughts. So I hope that can help you. Like if you don't have the exact answer, think about it in the past, present, and future. It can give you some thoughts. But again, think about why someone might be asking that question, and is it maybe relevant to the role you're applying for? Yeah. That's my
Okay.
Yeah. So I sent the link in the chat. But again, after the session, tonight I will send you the email with the more details about this program and the link, so that people interested in joining the program, this mass class, people who really want to create opportunities for themselves. This way, other people create opportunities for you, but you can create opportunities for yourself by showing up what you're capable of, the skills you have, how you can deliver value. So, and you can do that through building a strong personal brand. Wihugola, thank you for a good presentation. I want to know how to answer story or scenario question during an interview. Sometimes they tell you a story and ask you what you can do in such situation. How can we straight away answer to such questions? Thank you. So you asked like scenarios. Actually, I gave an example of a scenario which they gave me. If an organization I'm working with has a partner who is an international organization, but the partner organization want to use the money for operations, paying salaries, rent, cars, instead of executing the project the money was given for the grant. So such scenarios they give you, and when they ask you what you can do, well, of course, they are still the scenarios. They are trying to see something. Like for that one, they were trying to ask me, how do I deal with stakeholders? In that question, they asked me about those organizations, like stakeholders who have different interests, different priorities. How do you handle that? I went to talk about my communication and all that. Until they push me to say, like, if they don't agree, that can you break up with them? Yeah. So they want to see your zeal, your grit, and all that. So my suggestion is, one, if you have a scenario that looks like the one they gave you, you can say what you did. Use SBI. Actually, I had a similar experience working with this organization. It was like this. And we did this, and this was the result. So I think the same applies to this occasion. With these people, we need to really deal with them or communicate with them, and all that. So SBI model can still help you in sort of scenario kind of questions. If you can relate to personal experience and then try to come up with the resolution, like how you deal with situations, because they're not interested more into how you did the story. They're trying to see the kind of person you are and how you approach problems depending on the problem in the case. So as they ask you, really the first step is to think, actually, why are they asking me this question? And form your answers accordingly. Okay. After this, you raise your hands, you can open your mic and ask your question.
Hello. Yes, Eric, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hear you, brother.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation of today. It's really very nice for me to hear you again for your talk. So, my name is Aphrodis Munyaneza. I'm currently a master's student at Chinese Academy of Sciences. I'm doing ecology, forest ecology. So I have like two questions, but one question, Florence, she's already asked about that. And my question is, sometimes people are getting nervous before interview. So I'm asking, what are the tips like people can use to release out a nervousness and full up their confidences before entering the interview? Do you get my question? Hello?
Give me like 5 minutes. Can I have 5 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah. So you asked how to deal with the nervousness, right?
Yeah.
Well, nervousness is normal. It's normal to be nervous before the interview. Even with my whole experience, I've been doing public talks and all that. But always before interview, I feel a little bit nervous. But that's normal. That's normal. But you need to deal with it. One technique to deal with nervousness is to prepare. Like when you know you have prepared well, you did your research, you did your homework, it cuts out your nervousness. And another technique is psychological, like do it even when you're nervous, like because now your career depends on it. So nervousness is normal. Acknowledge it, that you're feeling nervous, but still go for it. So preparation is the first step, and experience matters. The more you do it, the better you become, honestly. So experience and the competencies boost your confidence. But again, you need to really prepare your mind first. Like really think about what you're going to do and what's the worst case scenario in your interview. So you like there are a lot of techniques around how to deal with nervousness. That like people take a deep breath. But one thing I've realized is the more you do it, the better you become. There's no shortcut to experience. The more you do the thing, the better you become about it. Yeah, but things like some cycle techniques, take a deep breath, visualize yourself in the situation, dress very well to boost your confidence. These are things you know them. I didn't want to go into details that you need to look sharp, boost your confidence. These are things you can do, but I recommend that really practice more, prepare well, do your homework at least I think by knowing the things we went through today, of what you can prepare, the kind of questions, how you can prepare the questions, even having this information, it boosts your confidence in one or the other. Preparations and practice. Yeah. So all right, everybody, it was good to have you.
Thank you
for this webinar. Thank you for making time. I hope you learned one thing or another. I hope in the future, when we'll be having similar kind of webinars, I will let you know. I have your contact to be receiving my information. And after this, I will send you a quick summary and the link for that program. If you have not seen it, it's in the chat. You can register now, be among the first people to register for the masterclass. Yeah, to emphasize like something you mentioned, that people do vetting. Even now, people, before they invite you for the interview, people are watching your social media. They go and see who you are. So it's important that if you think about growing as a professional in the professional world, now social media is a big deal. It's a big deal that sometimes people might not invite you to enter because they read your social media. You realize most applications now, they're asking you to send your LinkedIn. Yeah. So in this masterclass, we'll be also learning how you can really create your profile to make it represent you so well. So stay tuned for more information about this. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody. I wish you a great week. I hope you have a good time. I will share the recording afterwards. Yeah, you're free now to leave.